Welcome. This is the Miracle Magnet podcast, where we share stories of everyday, extraordinary humans realizing great things in their lives. I am your host, Laura Mcgahey, and I can't wait for you to listen and be inspired by these people who are turning pain points into positives and letting the good ripple out. Come learn and see how you too can be a miracle magnet. Today we are in conversation with Alex. Alex is a professional ballet dancer. I'm so happy to have her here because she is a perfect example of a miracle magnet. This lady has attracted all kinds of good in her life and from a very young age. And I can't wait to share her story about how she made her dream of becoming this professional ballet dancer her reality. So welcome, Alex.
Thank you so much, Laura. I'm so happy to be here and to share my story with you.
So good. Now, Alex and I, we've been friends for quite some time, and we met while we were traveling and living abroad. So it's really fun to have her on and have her share her story because that's how we met, is through her courage and her bravery and her commitment to her work. So, Alex, what would you like to share so that we can get to know you a little bit better, just in general, about who you are and what makes you Alex?
Yeah, so I am a proud Canadian, born and raised, and and now I'm currently living in Vienna, Austria for my career, which I know we're going to dig into soon.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So tell us about your dream. Take us back to little Alex and how this, the reality you're living now, how it all got started.
Well, I have to say it started with our family Friday night dance nights. I grew up with like music and just loving to just bop around, even in my diapers. That's what I was doing, dancing. Couldn't sit still. So I think my mom just, she knew she wanted me and my older brothers to grow up doing many different things, sports and dance. So I was in ballet, I was in figure skating, I was in gymnastics, and I guess my love of, dance and music started from a very young age. And I was in ballet already at the age of 3. So that's kind of where it all began and has just only opened up my world since. So.
Amazing. Yeah, it's been your ticket to see the world, literally.
That's right. That's right.
Now, what was the moment? Let's then fast track a little bit. So when was this moment when you started to take ballet seriously?
Yeah. So I think, so obviously 3 was not very serious. But as I got a little bit older, I want to say maybe it was 8 actually, when one of my ballet teachers suggested that I audition for Canada's National Ballet School, which is a professional boarding school out of Toronto. And she thought it would just be good experience, and she thought I was already, I guess, at that age, talented and just something maybe for me in my future. And so I did that audition at 8, and they wanted me to come to the school ready. And my parents kind of just said, no, that's not going to happen. You're 8 years old, and how can you know that's what you want to do? That's just too young. We want you still to have like a very diverse childhood and experience many different things. Also not to live away from home at 8. So that was already, though, a mark in my life where it was like, okay, maybe this is something in my future. So they said, if it's something, my parents said, look, because the school director was really after my parents, like, please consider. If it's something that she's interested in later on, maybe when she goes into high school. So maybe when she's 14. Yeah, because I would anyways have to change to another school.
Right.
So that kind of got the ball rolling, I guess, in terms of like, this could be something.
Your parents recognized that you had this talent, this special skill. And how did you nurture that in that in-between time between 8 and being ready to go to this school?
Yeah, no. So they saw that, okay, look, this could be a very real possibility for Alex in her future. And she's obviously got some talent. And they just started, my mom especially in this case, investing more in like, hey, what should she be doing? Like more ballet, more classical training. But I still wanted to keep up the jazz and the tap. And just, even more classes, right? More rate, like I would say from 8 on, I was just doing more and more like throughout the week. And I also joined at the time that local dance studio had a competitive dance team. So I was doing more in that, and also had like little opportunities, like my first solo performance So, and like
Amazing.
more, yeah, private trainings as well at the studio, or more smaller, yeah, trainings.
So you had, yeah, lots of support and they
Mm-hmm.
were really encouraging
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what we
Yes.
need, right?
Yes.
Champions.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did you feel, as this little girl, did you feel like a burning desire in you? Do you remember that? Like a deep passion or
Yeah, I did, because I just like I have to say, when I was younger, probably even 8, like I didn't really probably realize what was, like what kind of opportunity this was, or like
right.
what, because I was so interested in other sports as well, like, which I'm so grateful for, because I think that only added to like my physicality and love of like sport, the sport side of dance as well, the
Mm-hmm.
physicality. I think for me, the burning desire was, it was in there, but it grew. Like the more I got involved in dance, I could only, and as I might touch on later, when I went to the ballet school and I was just fully focused on dance, like that burning desire just grew more and more. I was just very inspired in the environment.
Any dancers out there watching you and listening,
Mm.
you would just champion them. Yeah,
Yes,
to keep up in their local dance
that's
schools,
right.
keep investing in it and
That's
keep
right.
practicing.
And nowadays,
Yeah.
there's so many more like outside sources than I had access to, as we know, with technology. So like the amount of videos online, when that eventually came out more, like I was doing a lot of online research, and even through YouTube, watching video performances, learning and listening to the music, and yeah, I was very inspired.
Love that. Love that.
Hmm.
So then take us to the moment when you did join the National Ballet School.
Yeah, so I was doing obviously a lot more with my studio, and I had actually changed studios at this point, because my local studio that I was going to actually closed down. So that was also like a bit of change. But I was kept up all the other sports I was interested in. I just knew that, like, you know what, I might wanted to try again to get into the National Ballet School. I was 14 or 13, sorry, turning 14, and the Canada's National Ballet School does like, but the Canadian wide tour. So they traveled to local dance studios, and they came to where I'm from in Canada, and did a little open audition. And after that open audition, they said, we really like you, but unfortunately for now, you're going to be on a waiting list for our summer school. So it was exciting, but it was also a bit, okay, what does that mean, waiting list? So I'll never forget, like my mom, she would call the woman who was in touch with us and said, what can we do? What can Alex do to like improve her chances to get off this waiting list, to get into the summer school? So she suggested things like coming to the National Ballet School and taking an open class so they could see me again, and just keep up my, dancing, and just trying to work on things. And I think it was after one of the open classes that they then said, yeah, yeah, we want Alex to come to our month-long audition summer school, which is for the full-time professional program.
Amazing. Wow.
So yeah, it was in July, and I guess what was it, 2014? Yeah, July 2014. I went to Toronto and moved into the residence, and with many other, yeah, auditionees and also like returning students. We were mixed. But within my ballet class, I was with a completely um, full class of auditioning students. And yeah, it was a month long summer audition. And yeah, by the end of week 4, they met with my parents, and they said that they wanted me for the full time program, which
Wow.
was so huge. Yeah, it was really, yeah, really, really special. I think we
Which
were
turned out to be life changing.
life changing for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, again, you said something really important there, I think too, was of course you had these wonderful parents, a supportive family who were
Mm.
championing for you.
Yes.
Um, and the fact that because people could come across adversity and a lot of no's in their lives
Hmm.
and then just kind of walk away,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and forget about it. It's not for me. But your mom having the insight to say, hey, well, what can we do? How can we support her to
Yes.
like
Yes.
increase her chances? I think that's like a key thing because we have to stay true to that fire inside, that thing
Yes.
that we know is meant for
Hmm.
us. and show that we are just super committed. So I think that was like a
Oh, it
huge,
was huge. And I'm
that was
so
cool.
grateful for
Yeah.
her for that because I
Yeah.
think just in
Yeah.
general, my parents, my dad especially, grew up in a very academic family. So it was very out of the norm, to be pursuing something in the arts. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think my mom pushing just to see if this could be an option for me, it was huge. And what I'm going to get to is, yes, I was accepted into the full-time program, but it was actually quite a big deal to get my parents and my dad especially on board with me going to the National Ballet
Mm,
School.
mm,
But I think the biggest I remember telling them was, I remember specifically my dad saying, "Dad, if I don't do this, I'm going to regret this. If I don't
mm,
take give it a try at least." But I think the
mm.
biggest concern, coming from a very academic family, was how are the academics? And the National Ballet School, it's going to a private high school. The academics, I want to say I even got maybe a little bit of a better education than my brothers in the
Yeah.
normal public system. So yeah, that was like a huge, okay,
Fantastic.
you know,
Yeah, it's like once they look into it and find the answers and like get reassured, then it's green
yes,
lights.
that's right.
Cool. Yeah,
So,
cool. So Alex, you had this journey in the ballet school, National Ballet
mhm,
School. Awesome. And then so how does one transition then to it being their work?
mhm.
Like how does this happen for you?
Yeah, so by grade 12, we were already putting together like our CV, which is just like any other job resume, except it's listing, all of
Mm,
our performances, the roles we performed, also our academic achievements. Um, and we start researching companies, not just within Canada, but also Europe, or we actually have a lot of Americans that come up to our ballet school because it's in Toronto because it's just so well known. And Mavis Staines, the artistic director of the National Ballet School, is very well connected. So often, actually, what I want to say is throughout the season or throughout school years, during the summer, I think it was in grade 10, for example, I got sent to Australia on an exchange. So we actually participate in these summer exchanges, and that often also opens up our doors to maybe, oh, this might be a future dance company I'm interested in dancing with. So, for example, a lot of Americans will try and look at the summer exchange in the States because it's easier for them to work there. And
okay.
actually, way back, yeah, in grade 12 as well, we talked about if you have any European descendants, or like connections there, you should get a European passport. You should work on that because that will help
Mm,
you. Yeah, it'll be easier to work over here in Europe.
yes,
Yeah,
okay, for sure.
yeah. So,
Cool.
yeah, already, yeah, by grade 12, I would say we started, yeah, organizing that. So, what happens next? And the National Ballet School is connected with the National Ballet of Canada in Toronto, but they only take so many, dancers. There's only so many open positions, and they have this connecting, like kind of like a step into the company, which is the apprentice program. And then we also, through the National Ballet School, there's also a year after grade 12 that they call the post-secondary program. And
Okay.
that's just gives you another year to work on your training without the academics. So it's like a full day of dancing, which
Bonus
a
year.
bonus year. And it's ended up being so important. And I actually did a year of it because one of my things was I came to the ballet school in grade 9 when I was 14, and that was actually considered late. So,
Okay.
yeah, they would have liked me at 8 years old, in grade
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
which they don't have grade 5 anymore. It's grade 6 to grade 12. But at the time, it was, they wanted you younger so they could train you. And I had to, in grade 9, each year we're reassessed whether we'll be accepted for the following year.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had to prove to them, okay, Alex, like I was told, you're here and the girls in your level are here. We have to close that gap. Like you need to
Mm,
close that in order to progress and to make it to where we want you to be by grade 12. And in the end, I think I surprised them a bit because I shot up in my height. So all that training from grade 9 to grade 12, I was, progressing, but then I grew and that just totally changed my center of balance, everything. So that was like another little bump in my road, but in the end, it all worked out. But yeah, so I ended up doing this extra bonus year, which is a great program, because in the end they were finding a lot of dancers that would go right from high school and get a job into a professional ballet company. Even with this apprentice year that you can, or a junior company, as some companies have now, a lot of dancers were getting injured because we went from like a half day of dance and academics to then a full day, and our bodies just aren't used to that. So this bridge year, this bonus year gave me that strength that I needed.
Yeah, a real blessing for you in the
Ended
end.
up being the best thing for me.
Cool.
Yes.
So I would love to know, Alex, like the inner qualities that you had to develop, or that you maybe have developed since that time when you joined the National Ballet School and you realized, oh, I'm behind the girls in my age group. Like, did you have to develop some parts of yourself, like, to be able to move through these challenges?
Oh yes. Yeah. I have to say, like, I was pretty competitive growing up with my two older brothers, and so I think that definitely helped, that inner drive,
Okay.
being resilient, and also learning just how to like take corrections and really work on it for myself. Yeah, I was in the end, yeah, being at the ballet school, I wasn't competitive with the others. I was more just competitive with myself, and just, yeah, like knowing that I wanted to reach a certain point and just to be better, constantly work on myself. And of course, I was inspired by the other dancers around me, but yeah, I think it was just being very strong-willed and, yeah, like believing in
You
myself.
have to, yeah. And I would think you'd have to be a really open student. You'd have to be a really good student, not only academics, of course, but then, like you said, like you're growing, your body's changing and growing, and you're having to take sort of criticisms and probably constantly about your technique and different things. And so you'd have to be quite, resilient to be able to move through those and continue
Yes, that's
to
right.
not just back away and,
Yeah, get put down by, there's many critiques and criticisms that could have easily put me down, and I'm sure at moments did, as any, emotional girl going through puberty would experience. But yeah, it was a very tough environment. You had to have a tough shell, and you have to have a good support system, which I did have. I had my parents and, so family.
So then from there, you've been traveling the world as a ballerina, and like touching in different cities working. So how does that work in a general sense? Like you get hired by a dance company or?
Yeah, so I'll just quickly say I started off my career with the National Ballet of Canada. I ended up getting offered a position with the apprenticeship program, which was great because that's the company I kind of grew up in person, getting to watch performances, and it was also became a dream to dance there. So that was incredible. And then I had to learn very early on, dealing with, in a way, rejection. I was told I was too tall at that moment in time to get into the corps de ballet, even though, you get good feedback from the people you're working with, the rehearsal directors, the ballet mistresses, the people you're working with every day. You see you've progressed, you get along with the company members, but at the end of the day, it's a height thing or luck, it's just being at the right place, the right time. So that was already, okay, what next? And through my, connections with and speaking with my director of the ballet school, she said, what about sending your stuff to this place in Geneva, Switzerland? It's kind of like a junior company. And so then what you do is you send your CV, videos of you dancing. I sent like variations that I had done. And they invited me, and I go take class there, and it's again an audition. And then they said, yeah, we would love to have you in our program. So that's how I ended up in Geneva for a year. And then my next gig was in Ballet BC. And I had met the director there through a summer dance program that happened in Banff, actually, in Canada. And I connected with her there. She really liked me as a dancer. So that was through like a in-person experience. She liked the way I worked, and I kind of used that connection. I wrote her saying, is there any chance I could have a contract or work with you guys for one production? Because I had a year where I didn't know what I was going to do. And because I had done a bit of an audition tour within Europe, and nothing kind of panned out. Same thing, like not right timing. Um, and I ended up doing, about almost a year in Vancouver working on this production with Ballet BC, and got an email from Martin Schlapfer, who is still my current director here in Vienna. He offered me a job in Dusseldorf. That's where I was for 7 years. So I had taken class there and auditioned in class in person. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of, it was a little bit back and forth there. Yeah.
But there's just so much to this too, because like you would have to be well, I in the work I do now is really know your goals, like what do you really want, and that helps direct your every action thereafter, right? And so it's like if you really want to be a professional ballet dancer, I'm gonna stick with it. Like that's what I choose. And so it's this perseverance and this persistence really to find and to put yourself out there. Like you said, you had to contact that lady.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. Like we have to put ourselves out there, be vulnerable, and
Definitely.
and seek opportunities really.
Yeah, because no one else is going to do it for you. That's like also huge.
And nobody else, nobody else knows what you want, right?
You're your best advocate. So it's right. And I think like there were times in my life where I was obviously, I remember, knowing I was not going to get the core contract I wanted, the National Ballet of Canada. And I remember, writing a list of my goals, like what do I still want to, try and have a career in this profession. And even though it's so difficult, a lot of people, they just decide, no, it's not for them in the end. If they can't break through, it can be really hard. But
right, that breakthrough. And again, like this is what I'm learning too, is you have to really stay with it. Like stay past the point of like you want to give up. I hear this so much. You have to go beyond that wall, really, and to have that breakthrough. So it's like just when you want to pull back, it's like no, that's the time to go more.
That's
go
right.
further.
That's right. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. What does that look like for you now? Where is Alex now?
So Alex is in. I'm in Vienna, Austria. So I dance for the Wiener Staatsballett, and in this gorgeous, beautiful opera house. Just walking into there every day, like it's filled with so much history. It's really an incredible place, and to be dancing on that stage is very special. And so for me, I work from beginning of September all the way to the end of June, and throughout our season we have, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 different productions or evenings. Maybe it's a little bit more, but sometimes it's a full-length ballet, or other evenings it's a mixed program, meaning can be 3 different ballets or creation. There might be a new creation in there, or one piece might be more modern or more contemporary, which I think is some of the nicest evenings to see, because you get a nice mix of the 3 different. You might say, oh, I really liked this one piece because it was more classical and that's what I enjoy. But it was also nice to see the more modern piece, or a new creation. So that's kind of, what I'm doing. And we train Monday through Saturday. And sometimes it'll be even like a full working weekend, because we have the show Friday and Sunday, and then Monday we're back to work. So it's full weeks.
Still quite a demanding commitment.
Very demanding, yes. And when you're performing one production, you'll be already preparing for the next upcoming production. And especially if that's a production we hadn't done yet, it's not just bringing it back. It's a new production that we're doing, whether it's a new creation or just a ballet that's come back after 3 years. That takes more rehearsal time. Yeah. So sometimes we're also rehearsing rehearsing and performing different ballets at all at the same time. So it can be like 5 different ballets in my head at one point. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's really awesome. So how do you feel like when you look at this journey and know how maybe, rare? Is it rare? Can I say that or no?
Yeah, like, you can say that. It's different.
Unique.
It's very unique. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So like, do you, feel some pride about yourself, or do you, have these moments when you reflect back and think, wow, that's actually pretty cool?
Yeah, I've actually, in many moments in this career, it's like any job, it has its ups and downs, and can be very mentally mentally like draining, very tough, not only physical, like mentally as well. And I've had to then look back and say, look at how far you've come. Like, look at your accomplishments. Like that little, Alex when she was 8, auditioning for the ballet school, to 14, to having to close that gap, going back to that. It's just I've really had to learn to look back and yeah, just remind myself how I can be so proud. Also, the career I've had many friends that also, for example, stopped or unfortunately had to stop because of injury or
Yeah.
just, again, wrong place, wrong time. There is, of course, there has to be talent, but it is a little bit of luck as well. Getting a contract, just in terms of it's very personal choice. A lot of
Yeah.
directors, they just might not like you for whatever reason, and that can be very hard, obviously, to accept. Yeah. So,
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's important to draw on draw strength from those accomplishments, right? And I
mm-hmm.
always talk about stacking the wins and
Mm.
win Wednesday, and
Oh, nice.
because noticing all yeah, noticing all those little things that you've done, it helps build your confidence,
Yes,
right? And I
you're
think
right.
that's
Yeah.
really important.
It puts things into
Awesome.
perspective too. It reminds you to be grateful and just to,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you
appreciate.
can climb the
Yes, that's
mountain.
right. That's right.
We're here surrounded by
That's
mountains, and
right.
it's like literally.
Yeah.
So Alex, do you have some like good habits that you integrate in your life now that help you be this,
hmm
strong, independent,
Well,
great dancer?
I just love like overall like being very active. So I do like going to the gym. Also like when I can in my free time because I'm pretty busy during the week. But I just yeah, it's like a lot of extra training as well. So for example, our season's starting actually next week, and actually this week is optional training, but I go every day. Like I say, no rest day. Every day I'm going to optional training, and I even flew back earlier this summer to here to Vienna just to go start going to the gym. I pay out of my own pocket for gyrotonics or Pilates lessons, so it's a lot of like extra as well to get back into shape to be at our peak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of self-care
Mm-hmm.
and movement. I guess diverse movement would be important, right?
Diverse
To
movement is,
maintain your flexibility. Yeah.
yeah. And I haven't too much recently, but I had picked up a lot of crafting. I like doing macrame. Um, I also during COVID times I picked up ukulele, and I liked these like having a balance of hobbies and things also just to calm me or just for therapeutic reasons.
I think it's important. I think something, Alex, you do a lot, but maybe you didn't say, but you
Yeah,
laugh a lot.
that's true. I do. That is true. You're right. That's true.
Yeah, Alex has the best,
Oh,
the best laugh.
yeah.
Always this big smile.
Oh.
Alex, if you could speak to little ballerinas or, future professional dancers of any kind,
Mhm.
really, um, what advice would you have for them in pursuing their dreams?
Just to go for it, believe in themselves. Yeah, have the confidence to put themselves out there and to be able to deal with. Unfortunately, like we're all gonna get rejection at some point. I know that's hard and it's so difficult in the moment, but to keep going, know that someone out there is gonna see something in you. It just takes another set of eyes, to recognize that, you have what it takes. And if you work hard at something and you will like it'll happen. I do believe in like what you put out there will come back. So yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
To keep believing, right? If
Yes,
you know that it's meant for you, keep believing and
that's
keep
right.
working for
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have
So
any quote that kind of inspires you and keeps you sort of
hmm
in alignment if ever you kind of
yeah.
fall off track?
Yeah. It was actually one that my mom used to say a lot and write to me in cards, the many cards and letters. Dum vivimus vivimus, Latin,
Okay.
and it means while we live, let us live. So just like really enjoy, like really live your life because yeah, that's all we have, right? One life, we gotta live it to the fullest and enjoy every
Oh,
moment.
that's such a beautiful way to finish our
Hmm.
call, Alex. Thank
Yeah.
you so
Thank
much.
you so
And
much
I
for
think
having me here and letting me
you're
share my
so
story.
welcome. you are this example really of living life to the fullest, and the joy you bring, the light you bring to the stage, and then the joy to everyone's, even mine,
Mm,
whose lives you've touched and continue to touch. You are a star.
well,
So
thank
thank
you.
you for your time here, and for inspiring
Thank
us all to
you.
pursue our dream.
Thank you. You're
Yeah,
also such an inspiration. So it's really been such a pleasure talking with you. And yeah, thank you so much, Laura.
with pleasure. Okay. Thank you ever so much for tuning into this recent episode of the Miracle Magnet podcast, where we aim to inspire everyday people to be extraordinary in their own lives, in their own ways. You can continue this good magnetism by forwarding this podcast episode to a friend whom you think might benefit, or perhaps even share with us your very own miracles.